So yeah, I thought I'd do a video on more thoughts on my hometown, but I might call this video Dead Town Centres in the UK or England or Britain, but I've not decided yet. And what's influenced this video that I come across this YouTuber that's based in my hometown of Rochdale in Greater Manchester. I'm just gonna try and find him, like what he's called. But yeah, just bear with me a moment. But yeah, he was just going around Rochdale asking people, like, should Keir Starmer resign? I can't really remember his channel. I think he's called Englishman or something. Yeah, Englishman, should Keir Starmer resign, going around Rochdale. And what got me influence of this video, like, he was going around asking people, and not all of them, but quite a lot of the answers, like half of the people weren't very engaging, they weren't very interested. Like, you got a lot of answers, like a lot of people being camera shy. At the end of the day, they just might be camera shy and maybe value the privacy, but I feel like at the end of the day, I just feel like you got a lot of people that don't have an opinion, they don't believe in anything, they don't seem to have a lot of personality, they don't seem to have a lot of character. Seems like if they've had any personality or character, that it's just been drained out of them, like the soul's been drained out of them. But I guess that's probably what happened, where like working class, like Rochdale's known as a very working class town where a lot of people don't have two pots to piss in, you know what I mean? Don't have a pot to piss in and all that sort of stuff. But so maybe it's mirroring the sort of culture of that town where there's just not a lot of character, not a lot of personality. Not some people just don't believe in anything, and that's probably could be signs of depression, probably. But sort of mirrors that sort of town and that culture. And if it wasn't that, it was the UK dystopia in it, bruv types. Like, I'm not going to go too much into detail with that because it might get me into trouble, but that probably are quite happy with what Keir Starmer's doing. And he went into the town hall, Rochdale Town Hall, and there was a security guard there, and it was just very, you got that presence, that energy of, it was just a very two-tier system. Oh, you're not allowed, what Charlie Veach says. Two-tier system where you're not allowed to film, you're not allowed to do this, not allowed to do that, but oh, it's okay if they film because they've got a different colour skin to you. like, like it was just that authoritarian control where I think there's people in that like security guards that take those sort of jobs because they love control and authoritarianism and all that. And it's just a sign of the decline of places like Rochdale and England and Britain and all these dead town centres. And it's why all these town centres are dead and soulless because it's run by people who probably don't have British values at all, and the native people are just drained to fuck. Even though you did get some responses of, oh, Keir Starmer's corrupt, yeah, Keir Starmer should leave, he's no good, he's not capable, he was never any use in the first place, all that sort of stuff. But I think a lot of people just looked drained, looked knackered, couldn't care less. And that's just mirroring Rochdale and just how Rochdale is as a town. And as someone who's from Rochdale, I see that. Like, I think there just doesn't seem to be a sense of community there anymore. Coming from me personally, anyway, and it's so divided. That's probably why I don't really have a friend group, or I don't seem to see people, because it's just full of boring bastards at the end of the day. Coming from me personally, some people may disagree. And a lot of these town centres around England are similar, like dead. Like, it's quite known that a lot of these smaller satellite towns are just dead. Like smaller towns like Luton, Rotherham, Oldham, Halifax, probably Bradford, and so on. Maybe Milton Keynes, maybe, but that's like a modern day dystopia of England. That's probably for another video. It's just baffling, and it just, in my opinion, that's just sums up the decline of Britain. And the places like Rochdale, just dead, soulless, corrupt authoritarianism. And I've noticed a lot of the mayors of these town centres follow Islam, and I'm not gonna lie, that probably just sums it all up. Like, I'm not gonna lie, they just don't have British values, and they just don't really care what people want, and it's their views and their way of doing things targeted to a certain crowd, if you know what I mean. I'm not going to go too much into detail with that for obvious reasons, but under Starmer's Britain especially, and just mirrors the decline of Rochdale, just a dead town centre, and empty shops, depressed people, crackies, druggies. Like the local Weatherspoons in Rochdale, my dad calls it Dead Leg Corner. I don't know if that's a nickname that the locals have called it anyway, but it's called Dead Leg Corner and all that. And I just don't go into Rochdale anymore because there's nothing there that benefits me. And I just think, remembering the time when I left uni, having to go to the job centre and all that, going to that town centre, it was all about authoritarianism and control. You can just see it. That's why I'm so angry with Keir Starmer and Britain and the current regime, because I think Keir Starmer is just everything, ticks all those boxes, everything that I felt back then. That boring, grey, depressing, just mood of the place, that authoritarianism. And when that guy who was in the town centre telling, no, you're not allowed to do this, not allowed to do that, you can't film it, it sums it all up. It just mirrors the decay and the decline of the fucking place. And watching YouTubers like Charlie Leach that documents this sort of stuff, shitholes, Billy Moore documenting all these dead town centres, shitholes, the decline, calling the government out, calling the current regime out. And when you call these pricks out, you get the knock on the door and potentially 2 years in prison. You get the Lucy Connolly effect. And that's just the way things are. It's about censorship, control in this country, and I've talked plenty of it in other videos, but it's frustrating, and it's frustrated the whole country. That's why we had the biggest protest in British history a couple of weeks ago. It just mirrors the frustration of the silent majority of this country. And while we've got these fucking, other than that, these fucking Oxfam dwellers, as I call them, the far left, your fucking Pascal Robinsons of the world and just all these dickheads, biggest dickheads going. Can't stand them. Not lecturing people how to think and all that. Glastonbury and all that fucking. All that shit. But that's a topic for another video, probably. Dress like Bob Marley, dickheads, absolute fucking dickheads. And just it screams dickhead. But yeah, it just mirrors these dead, soulless town centres, the decline of Britain. Something that's probably a lot of people are speaking up about this last year especially. And that's the reason why these town centres are shitholes is the government's to blame for that. An authoritarian, corrupt, soulless, grey government with just Keir Starmer all over is to blame for that. And governments beyond Labour, probably. Because Tories weren't great either, were they? Since Tony Blair and all that, probably. My whole life, probably, really. And why these town centres were probably once great, where it was community-based town centres. You had your local butchers, your local bakeries, your corner shops, your sweet shops. Sounded a bit old-fashioned, but I think the old-fashioned way was probably better. Probably was. And now it's just vaping shops and, if anything, gambling shops. And the rest just empty fucking shops. That's mirrors the government, the way it's the government, this authoritarian dictator shit sort of government where they're trying to, it's like probably a new version of communism in a way, Soviet styled authoritarianism, Soviet Union bullshit. That's probably what they want with all this digital ID shit that they're trying to push, because at the end of the day they want us to be miserable, they want us to not be happy, they want to control us. And I could see it miles away now when I left uni, because uni was sold a lie. I can talk more about my uni experience, where I think at the end of the day nobody fucking gave a shit at uni, because it's not one of those places where you're forced to talk to people, you're forced to communicate. It's just shit. Yeah, I think I'm going to end this video here because I'm running out of room. But yeah, catch you in another video. Goodbye.